Hey, Von MegaJeff back again with another of the first ones, the one you never forget, series that I have been continuing that I stole from Vance over at Zep Pearl, which is basically a collection video, but we're talking about how we entered into the discography of a band and how usually that first album we discovered tends to still be one that we favor to this day. A lot of it's nostalgic. A lot of it's, our that first discovery, that excitement. And so we are just looking at different bands and different collections in my collection and seeing if that holds true for most of the case. Today we are talking Def Leppard, as the title would show. So Def Leppard, of course, started in the early '80s, late '70s. We discovered them in the early '80s here in the U.S. At least I did. On Through the Night was the first album that we had by them, and I don't think I had this album when it first came out. It was after High and Dry, the next album, that we discovered the first album. So still to this day, love the first and second album. They're so different because it's raw, they're young, it's a little heavier. And so yeah, absolutely still favorites. There's so many favorite songs on this album to remember, but that's not where I discovered them. And then there was a live album, Live 1980. This was a record store day release that came out a couple years ago. So picked that up live from back in the day, 1980. So that was a cool part of the collection. But High and Dry, this is where I and my friends discovered the band. And yes, still to this day, okay, I would say the first three albums are the trinity of excellence, in my opinion, of the Def Leppard music. This album still very much holds a real near and dear place in my heart. You got High and Dry, You Got Me Running, Let It Go, another hit and run. I mean, this album, Lady Strange, On Through the Night, Mirror, Mirror. No, no, no. I mean, this album just is a great one from start to finish. Now, I do realize the version I have is they later reissued this, Bringing on the Heartbreak. They later reissued this album, added the song Me and My Wine. And I remember when I picked up this album, the record store that I picked it up at in the used section had both, and I was tempted to buy both. I decided to buy the original. I don't know why. I could have got the other one that had the bonus track. Probably should have. So now I'm kind of on the lookout for that because I don't believe that song is on the releases anywhere else, that I have, at least. So anyway, so yes, this is where I discovered them, and I would say still probably one of my favorites. Obviously, when Pyromania hit the market, they just skyrocketed. The band became an overnight sensation, if you would. They just became a household name. And this album we played to death. It was just so many great songs. So for me, these first three albums hold the most near and dear place in my heart because we had these three albums and we played them constantly. And so those songs are just ingrained in me more than any other of their catalog. And absolutely just some great stuff. All three of these are just ones that were definitely played so much back in the day and still. So to me, those are my absolute favorite. Now, as I've told in the past, there was a time in the mid 80s, 85, where I kind of backed away from this type of music and was going into a different direction faith-wise and everything. And so I actually did not get into Hysteria until a long time later. This was the first time I did not buy. Now, I was there during the car wreck and everything when, the arm was lost and everything. So when this album came out, I was curious how they did it, but there was a couple years in there where they were waiting for him to recoup and build a new drum set and everything. So by the time this came out, obviously I knew the hits, but honestly did not have did not buy these albums at that time. Great stuff though. Now, moving on from there, we move into the sets. I have the second and third set. I'd love to get the first set just to have the whole set. I assume maybe there'll be a fourth set just because of the design on the side. I won't pull all these out, but anyway, you've got Adrenalized, which of course again went on just like Hysteria to become huge hits. You hear those songs on the radio to this day. Let's Get Rocked, Make Love Like a Man. There's just so many of these songs that are still being played. Let me see. Obviously, there's more on Hysteria. Should have looked at some of that. You're all familiar with these songs. They're just, wow, they're so small. I'm not even going to try to read them. But you know, everybody's got Pour Some Sugar on Me and all that stuff. Played that in bands before. Anyway, so then we've got, you know, that tends to be where most people are familiar. They go up to Adrenalize and then they stop. This set also has Retroactive, which is a bunch of cover tunes. I just love that album. It's so great because it's classic songs done in a Def Leppard fashion. Slang gets a lot of flack, it seems like. I like it. I think some of the songs are really catchy. I think it's one of their last really good albums. Not saying, no, I don't want to say last. It's one that I really, really enjoy. Euphoria, to me, I mean, it's a good album, but to me, it kind of lose it. They seem like they really kind of chilled out more on that one. And then this has the rarities, 2 different discs of rarities in there. So, I mean, I like Euphoria, but it's one of the, in my opinion, one of the weaker offerings. And then you got X or 10. Again, kind of in the same stage as Euphoria. It's kind of a little on the mellow, but I really actually, that one I do, there's quite a few songs in there that I gravitate towards, that I do enjoy a little more, I think, sometimes than Euphoria. Yeah is another song, another covers album, but it's done really well, and I really enjoy that too. And then songs from the Sparkle Lounge. There's a really lot of good songs on that one. I think that stands out. I could jump from Slang to that one and kind of skip the 2 in between as far as the feeling of them. That those 2 stand out, Slang and songs from the Sparkle Lounge. I really enjoy that. And then this has the B-sides. It has Yeah 2, which is some live stuff and some other cover type related stuff. No, there is live. Yeah 2 is more B-sides and cover tunes and stuff. So great stuff though. I love all of that material, but the main albums are in there. So then we move on. They have a Mirror Ball, which is a live album, live stuff. At this point, we weren't sure studio-wise. It'd been a while since we've heard much from them, but then they came out with the self-titled Def Leppard album, which I really enjoyed. I think this is a really good album. I don't know, you know, Man Enough, you know, Dangerous, Let's Go. I think this was, you know, stands up with the rest of their material. I mean, it's some really good catchy songs in here. So I really enjoyed this one. Then we got more Record Store Day stuff, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame release. And then Diamond Star Halos. Again, I think part of this, there's quite a few good songs in here. I like a lot of these songs. I think the self-titled maybe has a little more favorites in my mind. But not a bad album. Overall, not a bad album. You know, I don't fault the guys for continuing putting out music. A lot of bands in their time just continue touring as a tribute to themselves, playing the best of. And I get kind of tired of that. I like bands that put out new music. I wish they'd play more of it in concert. I do wish the radio stations would play more of it. I think that it would be nice if they would. So many bands put out new music that the companies don't promote and the radio stations don't play. And so all we're stuck with as a listening public is stuff on the, when you hear on the radio, it's all their classic stuff. And I think it's, you know, it's bad. It's sad that they can't get, you know, a fair shake, at least like in our areas. Maybe there are areas out there that play this stuff on the radio. I don't know. I enjoyed that album. And then another Record Store Day live album. So that is my entire collection. I think I've got, because of the box set, I think I've got most everything studio wise. There are some other things out there. The original early demo or something that they had. There's an album of that. And there's a couple other, you know, best of type things I don't have. But in my opinion, the first 3 still the favorite to me that I never forget. The first one is just rocking and raw. Second one is very similar with just a little more polish. And then the third one is very much more polished with all the bigger hits that we still to this day love. So yeah, the first one is one of the ones I never forget. And then just love those first 3 albums. So there you go. That's my Def Leppard collection and position at this point. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you later. Rock on and rock hard.